Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. In the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, there are few that captivate collectors and history lovers quite like the Kennedy half-dollar, especially the special bicentennial edition dated 1776 to 1976. This coin isn't just a piece of pocket change, it's a powerful tribute to America's fight for independence and a solemn memorial to one of the country's most beloved leaders, President John F. Kennedy. When you hold this coin in your hand, you're holding more than metal, you're holding a bridge between centuries, a symbol of freedom, resilience, and remembrance that spans from the birth of a nation to the era of space travel and civil rights. And believe it or not, tucked within the vast sea of these half-dollars lies a treasure so rare that one single coin has fetched an astonishing six-figure price. The 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar was minted as part of America's bicentennial celebration. Unlike the usual Kennedy coins, this special edition featured a unique reverse design to commemorate 200 years of American independence. Gone was the presidential seal seen on the regular issues. In its place was an elegant depiction of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very place where the Declaration of Independence was debated and adopted. This one artistic shift turned the coin into a miniature canvas of American history. Above the building read the words, 200 Years of Freedom, an inscription that captured the patriotic spirit of the nation during its bicentennial celebrations. The obverse remained true to the legacy of Kennedy, with his sharp, youthful profile and the dual date, 1776 to 1976, reminding everyone of the progress made between the founding days of the United States and the 20th century. Most people assume that these coins are common, and to a degree, they are. Millions were struck in copper-nickel-clad composition for circulation. But what many don't realize is that some of these coins were produced in a special 40% silver version, and even fewer were created in proof or uncirculated condition for collectors. And within this narrow group exists a subset of coins with exceptional qualities, coins with deep cameo contrast, flawless surfaces, or even rare minting errors like double strikes, off-center imprints, or transitional planchets. These are not your average half-dollars. These are the unicorns of the numismatic world, sought after by elite collectors and enthusiasts willing to pay handsomely for a piece of perfection. Imagine finding one such coin, a bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar with a mirror-like proof finish, struck in silver, preserved for decades without a single blemish. Coins like these are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, and when one of these rare pieces is found in near-perfect MS-69 or PR-70 condition, their value skyrockets. Why? Because it's not just about the metal or the mintage, it's about rarity, condition, and historical significance all wrapped into one. The perfect storm for any collector. What makes this coin even more intriguing is its emotional resonance. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, shortly after JFK's tragic assassination. It became a national symbol of mourning, hope, and inspiration. To combine that powerful image with the monumental celebration of America's 200th birthday creates a coin with unmatched emotional and historical value. It's a coin that speaks to both the grief of a lost president and the pride of a persevering nation. And that duality is what makes it so desirable to those who understand its depth. Over the years, as more people become interested in coin collecting and the demand for rare coins increases, prices have surged dramatically. Auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt over these bicentennial half-dollars, especially the ones that defy expectations with their pristine quality or fascinating mint errors. These coins have transformed from keepsakes into investments, powerful little objects that tell a story and hold immense worth in today's collector market. And recently, a jaw-dropping example of the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar was sold at a highly competitive auction. This particular coin, struck in 40% silver, graded to near perfection, and preserved with extraordinary care, stood out for its brilliant luster, flawless surface, and unmatched rarity. The bidding was fierce, the excitement was electric, and the final hammer price left everyone speechless. That single coin, $1/2 bearing the soul of a president and the spirit of a nation's 200th birthday, was sold for $165,000.
ਇਹ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਾ
Top 2. There's something incredibly fascinating about pocket change that holds stories deeper than we can imagine. Coins that were once handled by ordinary people, passed along in daily transactions, and yet today, some of those very coins have turned into hidden treasures worth more than luxury cars, even more than houses. Among such treasures lies a remarkable coin, the United States of America Kennedy $1/2, minted in 1973. This isn't just a coin with a president's face, it's a time capsule from an era of political tension, social evolution, and American pride. The 1973 Kennedy $1/2 stands as a testament not only to the man it honors, John F. Kennedy, but also to the enduring legacy of American coinage and the thrill of discovery hidden within something as simple as a 50-cent piece that in the early 1970s, America was experiencing tremendous cultural and political shifts. From the aftermath of the Vietnam War to the energy crisis and the Watergate scandal, the nation was in the midst of redefining itself. Yet, amid this unrest, there remained icons of consistency, symbols that connected Americans to their shared history. The Kennedy $1/2, first introduced in 1964 shortly after President Kennedy's assassination, was one such symbol. People collected them, admired them, and treated them as both tribute and treasure. And by 1973, although millions of these coins were minted, what most people didn't realize was that this year, in particular, would give birth to a coin with special characteristics that, decades later, would ignite the interest of collectors and investors worldwide. Unlike the bicentennial editions that followed a few years later, the 1973 Kennedy $1/2 wasn't released into general circulation. That's right, these coins were struck exclusively for mint sets and proof sets. This meant that if you didn't go out of your way to purchase a U.S. Mint collector's set in 1973, you wouldn't have had access to these coins through everyday change. And that decision by the U.S. Mint to withhold them from circulation instantly gave the 1973 issue a unique place in the series timeline. For collectors, that kind of limited release is pure gold, or, in this case, silver and copper nickel. Now, when it comes to coin collecting, rarity is only part of the equation. The true value of a coin also lies in its condition, strike quality, and historical context. Some 1973 Kennedy $1/2 were produced with such sharp detail and reflective surfaces, especially the proof coins minted in San Francisco, that they earned top grades from grading services like PCGS and NGC. A coin graded PR 69 or PR 70 can be a collector's dream, especially if it features deep cameo contrast, perfect luster, and no visible imperfections under magnification. But beyond condition, there's another element that sets certain 1973 Kennedy $1/2 apart: minting errors. Yes, there are a few extremely rare examples from 1973 that display double dies, off-center strikes, planchet defects, or other unusual variations caused during the minting process. These errors, though unintentional, have made some coins incredibly desirable and significantly more valuable. When combined with the fact that 1973 $1/2 were not circulated widely, these rare error specimens have become the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. Owning one is like holding a secret that only the most dedicated and fortunate collectors will ever uncover. Imagine stumbling upon one of these coins, maybe in an old mint set tucked away in a drawer or a collection inherited from a relative. You might at first glance dismiss it as just another Kennedy $1/2. But upon closer inspection, the year 1973 catches your eye. The surfaces gleam with an almost mirror-like finish, and as you tilt it under the light, every detail of Kennedy's profile and the reverse eagle design appears razor-sharp. You decide to have it professionally graded, and the results confirm what you hoped for. Your coin is not only rare by date and mintage but nearly perfect in condition. And suddenly, what was once a forgotten piece of metal becomes a numismatic gem. As demand grows in the collector's market and more people dive into the world of coin collecting, coins like the 1973 Kennedy $1/2 have seen their values soar to breathtaking heights. Major auction houses have listed these coins and seen competitive bidding reach astonishing levels, especially for those in exceptional condition or with verified minting anomalies. These aren't just collectors, they're investors, historians, and enthusiasts who understand that coins are more than currency, they are pieces of our national identity, and so, in a recent auction that had collectors across the country watching closely, one extraordinary example of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was sold. It wasn't just a coin, it was a flawless specimen, perfectly preserved, rich in detail, and resonant in historical importance. The final sale price stunned even the most seasoned coin experts. That single Kennedy half-dollar from 1973 was sold for $155,000. Top 3. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it might be worth more than just its face value? Perhaps a small piece of American history is sitting quietly in your change jar, hiding in plain sight. Among the many coins that have quietly transitioned from common currency to coveted collectible, the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from the year 1981 stands out in an extraordinary way. It's more than just a piece of metal, this coin represents a fascinating chapter in numismatic history, a tribute to a beloved president, and for the lucky few, a potential gateway to a life-changing discovery. Yes, believe it or not, this seemingly ordinary coin has found itself at the center of a collector's dream, with some extremely rare versions commanding staggering prices in the high-end coin market. To understand the significance of the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar, we first need to take a step back and explore the rich legacy of the coin itself. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The nation was in mourning, and the U.S. Mint moved swiftly to honor Kennedy's memory with a new coin bearing his profile. Since then, the Kennedy half-dollar has become one of the most iconic pieces of U.S. currency, not just because of its design, but because of what it symbolizes, a time of change, unity, and remembrance. Fast forward to 1981, a year full of transformation, both in American society and within the U.S. Mint. By this time, Kennedy half-dollars were no longer being released into general circulation in large quantities. In fact, beginning in the late 1970s and continuing through the 1980s, many half-dollars were produced primarily for coin collectors through special U.S. Mint sets. This meant fewer coins were being widely used in everyday transactions, and fewer people were even aware of their existence in the current coinage system. As a result, certain years, including 1981, became relatively scarce outside of collector circles. This lower mintage and limited availability helped pave the way for the coin's increasing value over the decades. Now let's dive into what truly set some 1981 Kennedy half-dollars apart from the rest: condition and rarity. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction of those coins remain in pristine, untouched condition today. Most coins suffer from scratches, wear, or environmental damage over time. But those that were carefully stored, never circulated, and possibly minted with exceptional sharpness, these are the coins that become the crown jewels of a collector's treasure chest. In particular, proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, known for their mirror-like surfaces and intricate detail, are especially desirable. When a proof coin from 1981 is discovered in nearly flawless condition, it has the potential to earn a top-grade certification from professional grading services, something that immediately multiplies its market value. Additionally, what makes the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar so fascinating to collectors are the rare errors and varieties. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or coins that were struck with outdated or mismatched dies. Minting errors are like hidden gems in the numismatic world, they're accidents that result in coins unlike any other, making them not only rare but highly sought after. A 1981 Kennedy half-dollar with a confirmed mint error can skyrocket in value and become a centerpiece of any serious collection. Imagine for a moment that you come across one of these coins, maybe tucked away in a mint set you inherited or discovered in a forgotten box from the attic. You inspect it, noticing the brilliance of its finish and the crisp detail of Kennedy's profile. There are no scratches, no marks, no signs of wear. You decide to get it appraised and graded, and to your amazement, it receives one of the highest possible designations. Suddenly, that little coin you almost overlooked becomes a potential six-figure treasure, and this is not just hypothetical. The coin collecting world has seen real examples of the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar fetching jaw-dropping prices at auctions. Wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions alike are constantly on the lookout for rare coins in mint condition, and when the right piece comes to light, bidding wars begin. These auctions don't just represent financial transactions, they represent passion, history, and the pursuit of something truly rare. And recently, one such Kennedy half-dollar from the year 1981, preserved in impeccable condition and boasting unmatched quality, crossed the auction block and left everyone stunned. After intense bidding and high anticipation, this unassuming half-dollar sold for a total of $135,000. Top 4. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and thought to yourself, what if this tiny piece of metal is actually a hidden treasure? It's an exciting thought, isn't it? A thought that stirs the imagination and curiosity, especially when it comes to the world of rare and collectible coins. Now, imagine this, among the millions of coins circulating through the hands of Americans every day, there are some that hold astonishing value, not just because of what they represent historically, but because of their rarity, unique errors, and pristine condition. And one of those remarkable treasures lies in the form of the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from the year 1988. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another everyday piece of currency, easily overlooked and quietly tucked into wallets, piggy banks, and old drawers. But for those who know what to look for, the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar has become a highly prized and valuable find, capturing the attention of collectors and investors around the world. The Kennedy half-dollar has always carried deep significance. It was introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination in 1963. Since its first mintage, this coin has stood as a symbol of remembrance, unity, and American resilience. Over the years, the Kennedy half-dollar evolved, not just in design but in composition and purpose. By the late 1980s, the coin was largely produced for collectors rather than for general circulation, and this subtle shift in minting strategy is precisely what makes certain years, like 1988, incredibly valuable today. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar doesn't just reflect a specific moment in numismatic history, it embodies a convergence of condition, scarcity, and collector demand that can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a small fortune. So, what makes a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar so special? It all begins with condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. A coin that has been circulated and handled frequently will show signs of wear, reducing its value significantly. But a coin that has been preserved in flawless or nearly flawless condition, what experts call mint state or proof, can command astonishing prices. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, when found in such exceptional condition, becomes a rare gem. Especially those minted for collectors, such as proof coins produced at the San Francisco Mint, are crafted with greater attention to detail and quality, giving them a reflective finish and sharp design elements that make them stand out instantly to an experienced eye. Another element that contributes to the value of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar is the potential for mint errors and die varieties. These are the rare, accidental quirks that happen during the minting process, like a double strike, an off-center image, or a misaligned die. Errors like these are highly sought after by collectors because they are so unique. Each one is like a fingerprint in the world of coins, one of a kind and impossible to replicate. A 1988 half-dollar with such a rare flaw immediately increases in desirability and value. Combine this with a coin in mint state condition, and you're looking at a potentially life-changing discovery. But rarity and condition aren't the only things that make this coin worth hunting for. Market demand plays a major role in driving prices sky high. There is a passionate community of numismatists and collectors who are constantly on the lookout for these specific types of coins. Auctions, both in person and online, often feature bidding wars for Kennedy half-dollars that meet certain criteria. The buzz and competition among bidders create an environment where coin values can soar far beyond expectations. And when an extremely rare 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, preserved in impeccable condition with a certified high grade, hits the market, it doesn't take long for that buzz to turn into serious bidding. Now picture this, a coin that has been sitting in a protective sleeve for decades, untouched by time, kept in pristine condition, maybe forgotten in a collection or part of an old US Mint proof set. One day, it resurfaces. It's submitted for professional grading and comes back with a top-tier certification. News spreads among collectors, and soon it becomes the center of attention. An auction date is set, anticipation builds, and when the day arrives, offers start flying in. The room goes silent as the final bid is called. And the coin, a humble $50 from 1988, fetches a jaw-dropping final price of $115,000. Top 5. Imagine rummaging through a handful of loose change, the usual clink of coins slipping through your fingers. Dimes, nickels, a few quarters, and then your fingers stop. You catch sight of a slightly larger, heavier coin, shiny but not too flashy, with the familiar face of John F. Kennedy glancing left, a stoic and iconic profile embedded in American memory. You flip it over and read, United States of America, $50. And then you see the year, 1992. Most people would glance at it and toss it back into the pile, assuming it's worth exactly 50 cents. But what if I told you that particular 1992 Kennedy $50 could be hiding something extraordinary, something that makes it far more valuable than anyone would ever guess? What if that simple coin, tucked into a jar or long-forgotten collection, was actually worth tens of thousands of dollars? The Kennedy $50 has always been more than just currency. First minted in 1964 in honor of the beloved President John F. Kennedy following his assassination, the coin quickly became a symbol of national pride and mourning. Over the decades, it has maintained its place in numismatic history as a piece that's both deeply sentimental and immensely collectible. But by the 1990s, something changed. The U.S. Mint reduced the production of Kennedy $50 for circulation, shifting their focus toward collectors. This meant that many of the coins minted during this era, particularly those from the early 1990s, were made in smaller numbers or released primarily in special collector sets. As a result, coins from 1992 became highly desirable, especially those that were preserved in pristine, mint condition or featured rare and striking errors. Let's dive into what makes the 1992 Kennedy $50 stand out from the crowd. First, you have to understand that not all coins are created equal, even within the same year. There are regular strikes meant for everyday use, proof strikes with ultra-sharp detail and mirror-like finishes, and special uncirculated versions struck with care and precision. The 1992 Kennedy $50 exists in all three forms, and within each category, coins can vary drastically in value based on condition, rarity, and specific characteristics like metal content and die errors. In fact, 1992 was a landmark year for collectors because it marked the return of 90% silver Kennedy $50 in the U.S. Mint silver proof set, a detail that many casual collectors overlook. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1992 Kennedy $50 in near-perfect condition, it could hold exceptional value. Coins that have never been circulated, showing no signs of wear, and maintaining their original luster and detail, are graded highly by professional coin grading services. When a 1992 $50 earns a high grade like MS-69 or even the elusive MS-70, it becomes a rare prize. Add to that the possibility of a minting error, like a double die, missing letters, off-center strike, or even a transitional planchet error, and suddenly that 50-cent coin becomes a collector's dream. These features are like golden tickets in the world of numismatics. They transform ordinary coins into extraordinary finds. Then there's the story of discovery. So many collectors, hobbyists, and even casual enthusiasts have stumbled upon valuable coins purely by chance. A coin passed down from a grandparent, found in an estate sale, tucked away in an old mint set, or simply overlooked in change. There are endless tales of fortunes uncovered in the most unexpected places. And each one starts with a moment of curiosity, an extra glance at a date, a closer look at a detail, a quick search to see if it might be special. The 1992 Kennedy $50 is exactly the kind of coin that fuels those dreams. It's out there. It exists in the hands of people who don't yet know what they're holding. It might be waiting in a coin roll, a collection, or a safety deposit box, quietly gathering value as time goes on. Coin values aren't just about rarity, they're also driven by collector demand, historical significance, and market trends. The Kennedy $50 is one of the most collected coins in American numismatics, and certain years, like 1992, are seeing a resurgence in interest thanks to their low mintage numbers and the growing appeal of silver content. Collectors are always on the hunt for perfect specimens, rare varieties, and uncirculated examples, and when these coins surface in auctions, the results can be truly astonishing. The buzz and excitement in these circles often drive prices to unexpected heights, as bidders compete fiercely to claim a rare piece of history. So, if you come across a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar, don't dismiss it. Examine it closely. Look at its condition, check for unusual markings or errors, and consider its provenance. It could be one of those rare gems that collectors dream of. Because in the world of coins, even something as seemingly ordinary as a half-dollar can become a ticket to something extraordinary. And believe it or not, a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar in exceptional condition, particularly one with rare traits or error details, has been known to sell for as much as $95,000.